Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to CricBuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
Hello and welcome to CricBuzz. I'm Lisa Sthalekar and I'm here to preview the second game of India as they take on New Zealand in the ICC Women's World Cup. They will play and move on to Hamilton Seddon Park, a ground that certainly is known for swing and it is known for lots of runs. We saw the first match between Australia versus England there. Over 600 runs were scored. Whilst India and New Zealand sit on the same points, New Zealand have played a few more matches. Despite the fact losing against West Indies, they were able to bounce back against Bangladesh in a rain-affected match to pick up their first 2 points. Whereas we know India, they come off a really good victory against Pakistan where they were tested from a batting department but stood up with the ball in hand. These two sides know a lot about each other, having already played a series prior to the World Cup. They played 5 ODI matches where New Zealand won 4-1, India winning the last game. India didn't have all of their players available when they first started the tournament, and I certainly think that they are starting to get some momentum. They're starting to understand what the conditions are like, and they will be a handful. Plus, the last time that they met in a World Cup was 2017, and India absolutely trounced New Zealand. What India need to be wary of is the fact that New Zealand are playing at home. They're going to lift a little bit more. We saw that with Suzie Bates and her performance down in Dunedin in front of her family and friends. They always have a home clash, so India need to be able to play their best. The strength of New Zealand is their top order. You look at Sophie Devine, Suzie Bates, Amelia Kerr, Amy Satterthwaite, Maddie Green, the list goes on. And then they've got some great spinners. So India need to be able to mix it in all departments. One thing India does really well is in the bowling department. Meghna Singh, again, she missed the first few games in the bilateral series against New Zealand. I think she might be a handful, especially in Hamilton where the ball tends to swing. And the weakness for New Zealand is if they can take out the top order who are used to scoring runs for them and get into that middle order, which we saw in the first match that they played against West Indies, they panic a little bit. A World Cup is completely different than a bilateral series. In terms of the playing 11 for both sides, New Zealand, well, I would imagine that they're going to go with a similar side that they've played with. Hayley Jensen came in against Bangladesh. I thought she bowled really well. So did Frances Mackay. So I wonder if they will continue with them. Spin played an important role against Bangladesh, and you don't normally see that against the subcontinent teams, but that may be the case again. As for India, I don't see many changes. The only change I would consider is Shafali Verma at the top. She's already played against New Zealand and the last few innings did not trouble the scorers. Then you think in the practice match, she didn't play the first one, she played the second one, got a duck, and then the first game a duck. She is low in confidence. New Zealand know exactly what they need to do to her. So, who replaces her? In my playing 11, Yastika Bhatia comes in. I actually don't know if she's opened the batting in domestic cricket, but she has done really well for India in that number 3 position. She's just young, fearless. I think this might be an opportunity. Not saying Shafali Verma is out of the equation for the rest of the World Cup, but just for this match. Right, the player to watch. Let's go with New Zealand first. It has to be Amelia Kerr. She had a field day against India, more with the bat. Ever since she's been elevated to that number 3 position, her numbers are impressive. Already scored 100 against India and then 3 60s. A 90 odd against Australia in a warm-up match. And then we know what she can do with the ball. And on India's side, look out for Smriti Mandhana. The fact that she couldn't play a lot of those matches in the bilateral, she will be a key for India. We know how well she enjoys playing in these events, and she will do well against New Zealand, no doubt about it. or the little trick that I think India can do. I like the fact that they've gone for 3 seamers and 3 spinners. It gives them a little bit more depth, and if they can set fields accordingly, if they can starve New Zealand of the boundaries, especially a Sophie Devine, even a Suzie Bates early on, then they can put some pressure on them. Maybe that will allow them to jag a wicket. Like I mentioned, if you can take out the top order, then you're doing a great job. Then make sure you put pressure on New Zealand. They tend to falter under pressure. We saw that in the first game. That's the strength of India. If they can keep calm, they'll be successful. So who wins this game? Who has the advantage? It's a really tough one, because you look at the bilateral series and New Zealand won comfortably 4-1. But like I said, World Cup games are completely different, and the success India has over New Zealand, whether it be T20 or the 50 over World Cup, is pretty good. I think India may slightly get ahead, but my only concern is the fact that New Zealand top order are certainly firing at the moment. You take them out and it's a completely different game. We saw even the fact that Devine scored 100 and they still weren't able to get over the line. It is going to be a close game. It is going to be one of those blockbuster games. You have to tune in, make sure you watch it, and make sure you tune in here at Crick Buzz for all of the action.